Hey everybody, welcome back to The Loop, where we are continuing to make our way through the Bible together this year. This week, we are going to spend our time in my favorite Old Testament book, the book of Proverbs. The book of Proverbs is part of the wisdom literature in the Old Testament. God wants us to learn from the historical section, or He wants us to learn from history, but God also wants us to learn from people who are wise. The book of Proverbs was written by a man named Solomon. And according to God, Solomon was the wisest man who ever lived. In the first 9 chapters of this book, Solomon is passing along wisdom to his own son. In fact, in these chapters, we have a total of 10 different speeches that Solomon gives him. These speeches encourage his son to pursue wisdom and to avoid foolishness in all areas of life. Today, I want to focus on one that may be the most important. In Proverbs chapter 7, Solomon warns the reader to stay away from the adulterous woman. In chapter 7, verses 7 through 9, we're told that there was a young man who had no sense. He was walking in the direction of the adulterous woman's house as the dark of night started to set in. According to verse 10, this woman came out to meet him. We're told that she was dressed like a prostitute and that she had crafty intent. He listened to her seductive words, and this young man, he gave into her advances. And then Solomon said this in verses 22 and 23. All at once, he followed her like an ox going to the slaughter, like a deer stepping into a noose till an arrow pierces his liver, like a bird darting into a snare, little knowing it will cost him his life. In today's world, there are so many ways that a person can struggle with sexual temptation. Pornography, sexting, affairs, hookups. Solomon would say it's not worth it. That fleeting pleasure comes at a high price. Solomon says this kind of thing can actually cost you your life. It may not kill you, but it can destroy the life that God had planned for you. The key is not just in saying no to sexual temptation. The key is to avoid it in the first place. That young man knew where he was going before he ever got there. He should have never gone in that direction, and he should have never had that conversation. So if you're struggling with sexual temptation, which is a very common struggle, what do you need to do to change direction? Do you need to get the computer or the cell phone out of your bedroom at night? Do you need to change jobs? Do you need to move to a new community? I know that may sound drastic, but I also know that for far too many people, they stay in the situation and they just try to tell themselves, be stronger. You won't. God made you with strong sexual urges. That's why the New Testament tells us to flee from sexual temptation. You're not strong enough to stand there and fight it. So do yourself a favor. Instead of trying to fight it, do everything you can to stay away from it.